the flip side of this uncertainty is that it's freedom, novelty, something that was not anticipated by what went before. Now the scientist goes about with the mindset that he wants knowledge, but the opposite of knowledge is, you could say, ignorance. But this ignorance has a power, and this is the power of creation, creating something new, novelty. And if you can think of, remember these dichotomies we were talking about. The dichotomy between knowing and being is a very important one. So if everything were known, there would be no being. This being is therefore life. And life is the perpetual creation of novelty. It would be very hard to see this in the level of a particle. We can't get down small enough. But we know about atoms, for instance, that we have uncertainty as to when they're going to radiate or when they're going to absorb a photon. I used to call it the freedom of speech. And then there's the uncertainty in molecules, which is much reduced. Incidentally, it's reduced to the point where a molecule can begin to escape from it. We won't get into that here, but it's the same uncertainty that starts the molecule upward on the right-hand side of the arc. And then we can go through plants, the uncertainty, you put the seed in the ground, but if the seed is living, it will begin to grow. You can't be certain that it will. There's always this little thing on the seed thing that says % of germination. And then, if you like your mouse, you put the mouse on the floor and come back a few seconds later and he's somewhere else. You're uncertain where he's going to be. And you take it up. It only becomes really interesting if it's an animal like an elephant that could really threaten you. Or take a spy. Sidney Hook thought you could predict what the spy was going to do by carefully watching what he did. But not if he's a good spy. He won't repeat anything. And this brings us again to this rule that the scientist says you must be able to repeat it if it's scientific. Well, that would rule out the spy. It's not scientific, but it does. But he still exists, and you have to cope with this situation. That's what makes life interesting. Well, then we carry it to the universe itself being uncertain, i.e., the universe is novel. It's going to do something it hasn't done before. I'd like to, for my own peace of mind, to point out that this is always this dichotomy between being and knowing.